All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and also to their elders, the men that taught them. I pray the Lord have peace, blessings, and mercy upon the households of the hopeful elect. This is the brother Shema Wan from the Great Millstone Houston Church. And today I want to come with a lesson. I've just been meditating on how just early in 2026, right? A lot of people in their minds, sincerely, hoping for things to get better. But as you can see, within the first 2 weeks, things have gotten worse. All of the outcry for peace and comfort. Well, the actions that are being displayed on the earth aren't geared in that direction. A lot of people, everyone wants things to get better, but according to prophecy, the better ain't coming until, this heaven, this rulership, this kingdom is removed. The rulership of the wicked, like the scriptures tell you, when the wicked, matter of fact, let me read that. Proverbs 29:2. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. It reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So rejoicing, peace, happiness, joy, that won't come until the righteous are in authority. All right, until the question that the apostles asked Yahweh Shai in Acts the 1st chapter, until that's brought into effect. Okay, the kingdom being restored unto the Israelites. That's whenever there's going to be rejoicing back in this earth. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's all you're going to get when the wicked are bearing rule. So for, somebody to have hopes of, wanting things to get better, that's impossible. Okay. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 3:1. Because according to the events that are taking place on earth, you could see how the Lord, has things, in effect right now. What time is it? What time are we in? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I'm going to read verse 1 and verse 8 in the GNT. After verse 1, I'm going to jump down to verse 8. It says, everything that happens in this world happens at the time the Most High chooses. He sets the time for love and the time for hate, the time for war and the time for peace. And this is how the Lord has it. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time the Lord chooses. So right now, the time we're in, it ain't love and it ain't peace. We're in a time of hate and a time of war. And that's exactly how it's going to be in the last days, man. Real quick. Luke 12:54. I'll read this in the NLT. It says, then Yahweh Shai turned to the crowd and said, when you see clouds beginning to form in the west, you say, here comes a shower. And you're right. When the south wind blows, you say, today will be a scorcher. And it is. You fools, you know how to interpret the weather signs of the earth and sky, but you don't know how to interpret the present times. And interpreting our present time. What's the day? January 12, 2026. Okay, you can clearly see it's a time of hatred going out in the world, in a time of war, man. The love of many are gonna wax cold, and is continually waxing cold, like the scriptures tell us. Yahweh Shai told us these things. All right. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 49. Same chapter. Let me jump up. Luke chapter 12 and 49. This is the mindset of Yahweh Shai. So what times do you think we're in, man? You can clearly see what's taking place on this earth, but somebody still wants to have the mindset of, no, everything is better. You're insane. But see, the beauty of it is, nobody will have that mindset soon. That mindset is going to fade away. The Lord's presence is, if it ain't felt by everybody now, it will be soon. It's going to be undeniable that the judgments that take place on this earth is from Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Let's read the mindset of Yahweh Shah. Luke chapter 12 and 49 in the NLT. It says, I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. Let's stop right there. I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. That's the mindset of Yahweh Shah. And whenever this place, is set on fire, that's gonna be because the events taking place right now, what's taking place right now is gonna stir up into World War III. Okay, and especially whenever these nations release them ICBMs on Babylon the Great, aka America. That's that ultimate fire, man. That ultimate fire is when this bitch is going to be destroyed forever, and nobody will ever live in this place again. America is going to be utterly destroyed, man. And the fire that the Lord is bringing is coming from them nuclear missiles. You could clearly see the times we're in. It's a time of war, and that's coming. But hey, also too, literally when Yahweh Shah returns, whenever when people are going to physically see the Son of God, Yahweh Shah, return to this earth, matter of fact, he's coming with fire. He is, from the chariots and in the midst of World War III. Hold on, I'm gonna stay. Hold up. Let me go back to Luke. I'm gonna read it in my Bible. 1 second. Luke 12. Luke 12 and 49. In the NLT. Let me hold that. But let me read this first. This Isaiah 65. Yahweh Shah said he wished that it was already on fire. But according to prophecy, that's exactly how it's going to be when Yahweh Shah makes his return, man. And knowing this is, knowing this ain't just for knowing this is to, prepare ourselves for, this day that's approaching, Yahweh Shah's return, because whenever it's just, all hell and is a time of judgment, we are going to need the Lord's mercy, man. We want to be one of the Lord's elect, one of the Lord's elect, one of his chosen, that doesn't have to go through those things, that can be protected in those times. But real quick, Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire. See, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind. Those chariots are what people call UFOs. Those are the heavenly vehicles according to the Bible. It ain't aliens, green Martians flying the aircrafts. No, the angels operate the heavenly vehicles. And that's what Yahweh Shah is coming back on, a chariot. But it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So that's how it's going to be. Going back real quick, Luke 12 and 59 in the NLT, I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. So Yahweh Shah is literally, this is going to be fulfilled, what we read in Isaiah 66. But Yahweh Shah made mention of it when he was on the earth. That ain't no joke. Yahweh Shah is going to come back like that. Back in Isaiah 66 and 16, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. A lot of people are going to get caught up in the Lord's judgment. All right. But the times we're in, it is pointing to this time is approaching very soon. 2 Ezra chapter 15. Hold up, let me see. Yeah, 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14 in the GNT, it says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near, Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. And, you know, that's actively happening right now. We're in the midst of war brewing up. All right. But it tells you, hey, doom is coming. Doom is coming. Doom is attached to the end of this place. The rulership of Esau and the downfall of America. Okay. The end of Esau's rule and the, you know, that's how it's gonna be according to prophecy. It ain't no sunshine and blue skies in the midst of that, bro. This place is going out bad. All right. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. Is that not taking place right now? There will no longer be free access to the cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. And that's attached to the times that we're in. The times we're in, this is coming. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. In these days, during this time, we're going to need the Lord's protection. We have to have Yahweh Shah's protection in order to be, you know, in order to endure these times, man. To escape famine and terrible sufferings, you know, and just dealing with niggas. Niggas go be out here hungry. But, hey, the Lord said he was going to feed his servants. And the Lord also told us in the book of 2nd Esdras, I believe the first chapter tells you, you know, we'll escape the hell that's coming and our children won't see it. You know, so the Lord will protect. Somebody's going to be protected in those days. And it's going to be his elect, man. Real quick, 2nd Esdras 7:43. It says, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time. See? And the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. But doom is attached to the downfall of Esau. All right, and we're here on the earth, you know, seeing it play out. But according to the times that we're in, is no peace, just problems. You know, but Yahweh Shah is the one bringing the solution. And it's not going to be pretty. That's why the scriptures tell you in the book of Amos, the 5th chapter, woe to those that desire the day of the Lord. You know, it's not going to be a sunshine and blue sky time. Is going to be a time of doom and danger, man, where people are going to be scared. They're going to fear. That's why also the scriptures tell you a man is going to be more precious than fine gold. That's an elect man of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. But just thinking about how things are escalating, and, you know, sooner than later, that how they say doomsday prepping. Nah, it's coming, and people aren't making the right preparations for it. Trying to get, you know, clothes and food and, you know, shit that you might need. You know, trying to get access to land, a disclosed location, bunkers and shit. But really, it's just through the spirit. In order to get protection in these times, this is who the Lord is going to protect. Let me just read it. That's 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. 2nd Esdras chapter 13 and verse 2nd Esdras chapter 13 and verse 23 in the GNT. It says, hold up. Let's start at verse 16. It says, I have been thinking how terrible it will be for the people who will be living in those days, but how much worse for those who do not survive. And this is talking about the last days, the end times. If you read up, is going into Yahweh Shah's return, his literal physical return. All right. But now we're reading how it's going to be in them days, in that time, you know, upon the Lord's return. Right. It's going to be terrible times. But it says how much worse for those who do not survive. They will be in great sorrow. Verse 17. They will be in great sorrow because they will not enjoy any of the pleasures reserved for the last days. So it's a balance. As bad and as terrible it's gonna be, what's the pleasures reserved for the last days? That's the elect being taken care of and seeing the downfall of your enemy, seeing these last prophecies play out, and be able to witness this, while still keeping our integrity. Lord willing, that's us, man. Still having faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Still having a healthy fear towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Still having hope, right? It tells you, woe to those that are faint-hearted in the book of 2nd Esdras. It tells you will not be defended in those days. So the pleasures reserved in the last days applies to the Lord's elect. Verse 19, it says, but how terrible also for those who do survive, They will have to face great dangers and many troubles, as these dreams have shown. So guess what? Ain't nobody exempt. All right. People feel pre-rapture tribulation. No, the scriptures tell you through much tribulation, we're going to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. That goes for those who serve the Lord. We understand that it ain't no easy way, ain't no easy access into the kingdom. Look how Yahweh Shah got his glory. The servant ain't greater than his Lord. So whatever comes in our walk, we just got to remain faithful, man, because the Lord did say there will be pleasures in the last days, and the pleasures will be the elect enduring, man. Seeing these things take place, seeing the Lord's, the Spirit of the Lord working. How in the hell you go eat in them days? Hey, watch what the Lord is going to do. Watch how the Lord is going to deliver his elect in the times we're in. It ain't going to be no more talking about how we came out of Egypt, but how we got delivered from the North Country. That's what we're talking about. So it's going to be very dangerous and very terrible times. But that ain't too hard for the Lord, where he can't deliver his elect, though. Like, nah, bro. Speaking to myself first and foremost. Like, really believing that. It says how terrible also for those who do survive. They will have to face great dangers and many troubles, as these dreams have shown. Verse 20. Nevertheless, it is better to pass through these dangers and reach the end. See, better to live through these dangerous and terrible times than to disappear like a cloud from this world and never see what takes place in the last days, he answered. So, hey, like Yahweh Shah put up the prayer. Said, Lord, don't take them out of the world. Just keep them from the evil. Verse 21. The point I'm trying to get to is in verse 23. I'll just keep reading. It says, I will explain to you the meaning of this vision and answer the questions you have asked. You have raised questions about those who will survive until the end. The answer is that, here it is, the one who brings the dangers in those days will also protect from danger the people who have stored up good works and faithfulness with the Most High, the Almighty One. See? So you may be certain that those who survive are far more fortunate than those who die. And that's, and that's how it is going to be. That's how it's going to be. And Lord willing, we're those who survive and continue to receive mercy from the Lord, man. But guess what? Those who don't survive, but who are in the faith, they're in good hands. As long as you remain faithful until the end, the Lord shall fight for thee, like the scriptures say. But a lot of people, they still acting like war ain't about to pop off, but because they don't really, they don't see the vision. Like the scriptures tell you, where there's no vision, the people perish. They really, although they can see it taking place, niggas could tell you the weather, how the day is going to be. But niggas acting like war ain't finna pop off when you could clearly see it taking place. You can see things happening, on a high level right now. And we only 12 days into the new year. So I just wanted to grab that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect. And to the next time I say shalom.